If all the raindrops were lemon drops and gumdrops, oh, what a rain that would be.
Nice. Oh, what a rain that would be. Want to introduce my guest here. I have Mr. Will Gibbons from the Respecting Perspectives podcast at the Watermelon Room here. We have, man, he is a jack of all trades when it comes to management, marketing, communications. He is an event curator. If you are in the Baltimore area, you know who this guy is. I'd like to introduce him, and here we are, man. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Give me a little history, kind of maybe like where you grew up, and just kind of a baseline for everybody.
I guess I've been in a Baltimore, Maryland resident my whole life. Born in Catonsville, moved to Harford County when I was 3, and have been pretty much here my whole life. Always like to travel and get around, but have always had home base here in Baltimore. I spent a lot of my pretty much from 18, so since I could go to Ram's Head, I've been seeing live music. Nice. And even before then, I had gone to a couple day things for like a Sprite Liquid mix or Merriweather. So live music's been a part of my life, my whole life. But I've always been done trade work. I did flooring for years. Cool. I've been in a bunch of different aspects of construction. Never was really a master at anything. Mainly was on a helper level, but I did flooring and let's see, just like regular home remodel stuff. I was spent, I don't know, probably 8 years total doing stream and wetland restoration. So it was kind of a lot of dirt moving and realigning streams so that the banks didn't provide erosion that put sediment to the bay. So it was kind of like the hippie construction that felt good. Like I felt like I was, giving something back, but it was nice. It's really hard work. It ended up, it was very fulfilling. I got to be in a leadership role the last couple years there. And leading right into the pandemic, I went out on disability for my back. I had a chip in my one of my, I think my L7 is pushing on a sciatic nerve. Essentially, put me in debilitating pain for a pretty long stretch of time, and it was simultaneous as the world was kind of shutting down and going into lockdown for COVID. During that time, I ended up getting better, but I was also partying a lot. I wasn't working, but I was,
as we all do.
Yeah. And I don't know, it kind of spiraled from there, and we could, I don't know, I guess from there kind of does start my entry. I guess going back, I had been a part of a lot of, so while I was doing all those trades over the years, I was going to shows and seeing a lot of music, and in turn started wanting to volunteer, get involved to get either free tickets. So I street teamed for Ram's Head when I was younger.
And tell people what is Ram's Head?
Oh, Ram's Head is fair enough. It was a venue here in Baltimore that just recently closed, but it was kind of the the main venue that those I don't know, it's a 2,000 person room, so it was a lot of the main acts I don't know that people were generally into. They just kind of had a good revolving door of artists over the years. They've since fallen off a little bit, but at the time they would give you free ticket. They'd buy your tickets to go to a show at the 930 Club so you could promote a show up there.
Oh, that's smart.
And so they just had a lot of great incentives for somebody that didn't have a lot of money to go be able to, all you had to do is leave before the last song. So you were out there right as everyone was coming out.
Makes sense.
So for years, and I'll still do it today for events that I'm putting on or I'm a part of, Ramble. I'm not opposed to still handing out flyers after shows. But that was a great way to kind of get them for free. And then I always connecting and meeting people, and that was a good way to do that too, and kind of just I don't know, help get the word out about stuff that has been so important to me. So it was giving back and a good way to to get into shows for free.
Nice. Yeah, let's lead up a little bit into, some of the street team stuff. What is involved with a street team?
It's essentially, figuring out, what event you're working for and getting people, finding the right people that know whether they have a presence at a venue that they can hand either flyers up or hang posters up for you. And you're essentially creating a team that's going to help be the promotion force outside of your digital ads. So when you're talking about throwing a major festival or even just like a big show that's, coming up for your band, you want to have like 3 people that, that's not like a broad, number that's for every project, but you want to have a couple people that are out there helping get hard copy stuff out, or even just being social media, sharing on their stories and stuff like that. So your street team can look a couple different ways, whether it's digital or just physically hanging up posters on porta pots at festival grounds.
Guerrilla marketing.
That guerrilla marketing for Ramble Fest. I got us to get these posters that are like stickers, but they're big enough where you
I
could
saw
stick
them all over the place.
Yeah, no, and it's great. They weren't like too intrusive. We never got any calls about them being like, "Oh, stop sticking these up." But it was a great way. It's because you hang up a cardboard poster outside somewhere, you get one rainstorm, unless you're like taping that thing like what? Yeah. So there's
Pretty cool. I think it's interesting. The reason why I asked that is because as an artist myself, I'm trying to build that street team, as we speak, and just really trying to understand, the facets of it and how to find the right people for the street team and how to find the right people, I think, to get the word out. I think it takes a lot of, you have to be passionate though, right, about the project itself. I feel like the street team should really be people who really back either the music or the event or whatnot. Correct? Or?
Yeah, you have to. It doesn't feel authentic. Like I don't know. Like I've had people offer, and not that I don't support their project or whatever it is, but there's also I've had a hard time wanting to really like push events hard that I'm not fully either involved with or aligned with. And when you're talking about street team, there isn't like a whole lot of money that's like usually able to be.
Good point.
So it is a labor of love, a lot like a lot of the industry, which I'm sure labor of love will come up a couple times in this conversation. But yeah,
what does that mean? Labor. Get into it. Actually, I think that's important to kind of get into.
Yeah, well, the events and the art industry and music industry in general it's not necessarily a transactional business. As even though there are guarantees that bands or artists will get or whatever, that usually isn't covering the overhead that's like accruing, and you're usually spending twice as much time than somebody else is on that same amount of money, but that time slips away and you feel better about it because you're doing something you love. So there's that there's that balance too. But it's not to be a good street team member. It's not something you are like, oh, I'm gonna do. It's not to be a good one. There's a lot of people that say they want to be involved and they want to help. And I've been that guy that let teams down that they gave a big thing of flyers to, and I didn't do my heart, my best.
We all have it.
I think we all have, and that's part of there's the level of like trust that you have to have, but also no one likes to be micromanaged, so you have to like figure out ways to make it easy for people to help you. I think that's how one of the things that we're all striving for after every experience, whether it's street team or just even hosting an event and hiring someone to come do production for you. If you don't have all your pre-work done, and you end up causing them more work.
Right. Yeah. You don't want to put too much responsibility, I guess you could say, on someone, especially if they're not getting paid. But let's talk a little bit about curating events. Let's shift focus a little bit. I would love for you to inform everyone about Party for a Purpose. I think we should get right into that. It's Will has started. Actually, I'm going to let you kind of talk about it. Tell us what Party for a Purpose is, how it started, and let's see here. What vision you have for it.
Well, I currently right now it's an LLC. It's a for business company that specializes in throwing fundraising events through, curating with all different levels of art, music, and ideally doing them in places that aren't generally venues. So if we can, create something out of a non-traditional space, that's where it's exciting for us. And if we can figure out a way to do that, to create a special experience for people to come out, and people always love to, have a good time for a good cause. It's just like what has been traditionally a thing that fundraisers do really well, and people love to go out and, and do that. But I've seen so many of them that are just like, man, this could be so much cooler, a little more fun, and so I just from all the different experiences I've had in events throughout the years, there's so many levels of inspiration from so many different camps that kind of came together to have this idea that was kind of birthed out of the pandemic, and kind of the need to, like, pretty much everybody that had been doing events everybody that was doing, I was more on a volunteer or getting paid like that weekend of the event. Wasn't really in the back end planning of a whole lot. And so I was pretty well connected with everybody, and everyone was kind of like starving for, stuff to be open or shows to be happening again. And I felt like everybody that had established reputations was kind of weary to want to do anything because there were so many people that wanted this, but then the people that wanted everyone to stay locked in and stop getting together and spreading it. There was that kind of, I definitely received a little backlash from people online when I was promoting this event. But everyone was kind of starved for it. I had thrown like a little backyard surprise party for my partner at the time during pandemic, and we had everybody chip in, and we ended up breaking even on hiring a buddy to come out and do sound and have two bands come out that we were all friends with, and it was great. Everybody got paid, and we kind of got together and socially distanced, and it went well. Nobody got sick, so there was like about 50 of us for this party, and it went well. So the homeowners were like, "Hey, would you want to do something else?"
Nice.
And at this time, I had already been wanting to kind of I don't know, this idea of Party for a Purpose and doing this had already kind of been being put into the ether, so to speak. And when we had this opportunity to put this event on, I was like, all right, well, at that point I had been pretty good friends, or at least friendly with a lot of people in the Baltimore scene, and I was able to get together a really cool lineup, pulling together a bunch of different circles of friends. And I wanted to try this model out where I had an event, and I ran the numbers, and I was like certain I'd be able to sell the right amount of tickets. And like a lot of events, you don't factor everything in. My main thing was when 2 weeks beforehand there was like a travel ban in place, and like there was a spike. So like,
oh shoot,
I was in this mode of like, it was great. It seemed like a great idea, and I was in the full mode of like, build it and they will come. But also at the time, like I said, partying a lot. My brain I wasn't thinking clear. I wasn't thinking clearly the whole time. And from outsiders' perspectives, everything was great, and this was such a great positive experience for so many people. It was a positive experience for me. It came with a hefty bill and a lot of like mental trauma that was mainly self-induced.
Gotcha.
But I definitely soured some relationships on that for
It
a while,
happens.
just on the financial end. But it took, within a year, I had everybody involved paid back.
Nice.
And, but even after I did that, it still took another year for me to want to try and do something again. That first event was supposed to be for Rage Against Addiction, a mental health and a basically sober housing living for women in
nice.
Bel Air. And it was, if we made any money, it was going to be towards that. So it was we had someone from their camp come up, and so we had this event that was supposed to be bringing all of our worlds together, and while you're there, kind of see into the mission, the purpose of the parties, what they're trying to accomplish, and kind of giving them space to just kind of get word out about about their organization, while having a great event that has an impact on people that love to come out and have a good time, and in turn learn how they could help people too.
Love that, man. That's amazing, dude. Let's see here. Was there anything else that you wanted to branch off with that? I mean, how can people find either information about Party for a Purpose, or how can they follow you?
We're on Instagram, Party for a Purpose Presents. I have a website, partyforapurposepresents.com too. It's we kind of we started out kind of slow, and it felt
That's normal.
yeah. But we actually, looking back at it, we had a really great year. For our first year, we did.
What year was this?
Well, I guess it was in the February of 23. So this will be coming into 2 years, I guess, in February officially, LLC and the Facebook page and all that started.
Okay.
And yeah, so we had about 5 different events, all kind of they were after parties that we did for already bigger shows that were happening in town.
Smart.
And we had a different nonprofit that we worked for on each of them, and had different campaigns, whether it was an instrument drive or trying to just raise funds to be able to send kids on these nature retreats through this nonprofit Nature Works. We helped launch Jam for Jody, which was a nonprofit launched for one of our friends to help find a kidney for her. And
Did you get the kidney?
we found the kidney way
Nice.
faster than we thought. Yeah, she's in recovery now. Yeah, and the beautiful thing that went through, and we're still kind of pushing the message and letting people know, because just because she found the kidney doesn't necessarily mean that the journey's over with her medical bills.
Good point.
So there's that whole road, but we've helped get the word out, and we continually be doing what we can to kind of help make sure that she's not, hard up. She's done so much for our community. I met her through Charm City Bluegrass years ago.
Okay.
So I've been working with her forever, and she came onto the Ramble team, and the Ramble team's really kind of what put Jam for Jody together, and it kind of made sense to for us to kind of work together to launch it. And we were able to get Natalie Brooke to play it, which was
Nice.
Which was a lot of fun.
Shouts out, Natalie.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So-
So are you the brains behind it? Is there anybody else who's involved with the creation itself? Are you doing all this by yourself, or what?
No, there's quite an extensive team that could, branches out to a bunch of people for a bunch of different reasons. But my main partner is Ryan Delcher, who has pretty much been there since the beginning. We even had conversations before this all, we put it, we together sat down, put it into the LLC, and kind of created it as a business. But before then, we're talking about different dreams and visions we have for the music scene. And he even had a graphic made for an event, Party with a Purpose, or maybe it even was Party for a Purpose, but that wasn't the main thing for it. But we've kind of been on the same wavelength, and when we reconnected, we had been friends. We used to party and get wild together, and then we didn't see each other for a while. But then I saw he was putting on this Emily Evans Concert for Hope with his family, and I had just done some serious taking time off from everything, and was trying to lean into that service aspect of giving back to the community. And I knew Ryan, and that he'd come a long way in all of his stuff, so I wanted to go give back. So I went up started, initially signed up saying, hey, I'd love to be there for this date. And then that ended up turning into him getting me a job at Classic Sound and Stage with him. So we were sharing an office for a year.
Oh,
So
cool.
we were, he was teaching me the production side of the world. So I'd come from construction.
Okay.
And I hurt my back and I needed an office job. And these guys, Mike and Joe, shout out to them for giving me a shot to come in and basically from nothing, have Ryan teach me the world of production.
Wow.
Most of it didn't stick. Yeah, we found out this year. I can.
Isn't
I
all
can.
going to.
Yeah, I'm gonna be. I can be a good hand and help, but as far as being like the head on that, it's not my thing. But I'm accepting that. But within that, we shared an office for a while, so we got to kind of to dream how we wanted things to go, and it just kind of made sense with kind of how our flow with working together. It just seemed to make sense, so we've been going for it. And I think
we should shout Ryan out. Ryan Delcher, who also goes by Caterpillar. He's a DJ. He's also produced some of the stuff that I have, and he is influential in a whole bunch of different worlds in Baltimore. So you should be proud of yourself. You both should be really proud of yourself with what you've done. What about the future of Party for a Purpose? Do you can you foresee, like, if someone out there has a good cause that they might want to collab or combine forces with? How would somebody be able to make that happen?
That's like the goal. Like I want it to be one day where that I have the model perfected enough where I can help almost everybody in a way. Right now there's just a lot of depending on what people want. I think that, and I learned this at Classic, what people think the expectation on what it goes into, like bringing out a stage and sound and all that. And people are like, "Oh, I had $300," and you're like, you hit them with a $4,000 or $5,000 bill. That sticker shock is rough, and I think figuring out the way to make it for it to work for everyone. Like with Northwoods, I had a model where it was like, all right, it's an expensive ticket, but since this is a private event during a time when there isn't a lot, as long as like if say an ideal client would be somebody that has a great piece of property and they're like, hey, we have a friend that's in a really hard spot. We have a lot of friends in our network that have a good chunk of money, and they would pay a little extra if we were able to provide an intimate experience with them that is quality production. And we're like, okay, well, to do something like this, to book, you let us know who you want us to book, what kind of genre. You either give us full control to just curate something for you with some slight parameters, or you have a little more intensive input on what you're really looking for, and we can work out with what what your budget, or either what you're able to pay out of pocket just for the good cause, or do you want us to work with you on helping facilitate something really great happening, and budgeting out how much is it going to cost to bring in. So essentially we can go from full curation for somebody and do this whole lift for you, or do you want us to consult on just, figuring out how many porta potties do you need? What's a good trusted caterer that's going to have a good vegan option for half of your friends? Just like some people, for me, I've been around a bunch of great event planners, from my sister being a badass wedding planner for years.
Oh, cool.
To
shout out to sis.
Yeah, Han. No, and then my sister has put on multiple events when she was with Believe in Music, and now she works with BOPA, so they do Artscape. And
what is BOPA?
The Baltimore Office of Promotion and Arts.
Oh, cool.
They've just kind of been, I think a few people have given them a bad rap with some people, but for the most part, they've done a lot of really good work over the years, just keeping arts and music alive and providing free events for people to attend to kind of just, keep the dream alive. Yeah. But no, I've just always had a lot of really great, inspiring people around me. So when I started to want to do this for, on my own, but, for everybody, I had a lot of great people to give me advice. And even, some people I knew when to, take what they said and kind of, figure out for myself. And I don't know, I just had a lot of really great different networks to tap into to kind of gauge what was the best path for me. And I feel like I've done a good job at not overextending myself too much. I definitely have pushed myself and like maybe burnt myself out a couple times, but I think we all do. But I haven't. I've been. That's the one thing that I keep getting really good at is finding that balance, and it's a never changing thing.
Let's talk about that balance. I mean, what do you feel like, and it doesn't even have to do with the shows or whatnot. We'll pivot a little bit as far as balance goes, whether it's like your personal life or, a curating event, how important do you feel like balance is? And what do you think if you could kind of maybe, teach some people about maybe some of the struggles that you've either been through or I don't know, we try and educate here as much as we can with something like that. Do you have any advice for maybe some of the younger or even actually older anyway? I mean, when you think about balance, like that's something that we do talk about a lot on the podcast because it really is something that no matter how old you are, no matter where you are in your life, balance is always going to be literally, I mean, like think when you're just like when you're walking, you literally have to have balance even, with the smallest little things. Do you have any advice for people on like maybe how to do that or maybe some things not to do that maybe you did?
Well, I'd say the biggest thing is like just because your calendar says you're open does not mean you're open. I think it's if like I could
drop it. You dropped a hot on that one.
Yeah, I think like that was one of the biggest things I learned. Like, no, you can't help curate this part of the festival and then leave and go right to work and doing. I don't know. Like it was. Yeah, so it's just basically trying to don't overextend yourself, and if you do like just like accept where your shortcomings are, like don't blame, there's no blame, you can't not come with all the energy, and you got to be flexible and ready to roll with the punches and keep a level head. And I think that's part of that balance is making sure you're giving yourself space to go in with enough sleep. Like, I did a good job this year at, I worked a couple events and then had to do, was working late, but then had to be back at it on duty early, and, just making sure you're setting yourself time to come rested to the next thing.
Yeah, very important. Rest. Get your sleep out there, okay? Because you need to have a productive day. Let's see here. I would like to go a little bit back to the party for a purpose, though. Do you have any events either coming up in the future that you want to shout out? Anything that kind of stands out? Or is there an event from the past that maybe you'd like to, highlight a little bit that like you could foresee maybe like either doing again?
It's really hard to say for Party for a Purpose specifically, as I feel like going forward this year, I am going to be kind of focusing more on community-driven events as far more so than just trying to reinvent the wheel and be another production company that is throwing shows all the time. I want it to be a little more intentional with the community aspect of it, and more so team up with more people than trying to take all of it on myself. Because circling back to it's all on the team, I don't have a corporate sponsor or something that's like helping drive being able to produce events and tickets. Everybody knows ticket sales just aren't where they should be. They haven't been for a while. And one thing I've noticed is that you need good partners or sponsors that believe in the mission, whether it's an artist, an event, whatever. Those are the ones that are sustainable and make it. But if basically I still have a lot of learning to do. Like,
of course.
I think that's one of the another big takeaway I had is like, as much as I thought I knew and thought that I had prepared for or done better, there's always gonna always be something. There'll be that yin and yang of like, you have a win, but then you get humbled a little bit.
Oh, for sure.
So,
if you could you dig a little bit into the sponsorship, and then I think, let's see here. Yeah, sponsorships. How does someone find a sponsor for either an event or the company itself? How do you get somebody to back you like that?
I've had a little bit of success, and like with Tellerfest, I'd say was the first event. This was an event I did in September for this band Seven Teller. We did it in Patterson Park, and this was kind of my first attempt at really trying to piece together almost like a nonprofit model of an event, of trying to get the balance of what we had to pay the bands, paid for by local businesses, whether that was pieced together through in-kind donations or whatever. But the goal was to just like break even on it. And we did a great job. Like I think Ryan Delcher put our deck together, and I was like, man, as long as I have like this great looking, telling them our mission and the analytics of the demographics of the people in the neighborhood, of like, what kind of how many people are going to be there. Yeah. If I have this, like, people will be, lining up to write us checks.
Passionate.
And it just didn't happen that way, because it's a small grassroots event, and you're not like Celsius was a sponsor, but they sponsored by giving us a bunch of cases, which, that everybody loves walking away with some energy drinks or having free drinks.
And
That's
how did
great.
you find them?
That was just me scrubbing online. So like, really, I'm kind of being pessimistic on like, I had a lot of wins, but at the end of the day, there's still, a balance left over. But you look on Celsius's website, they try and find out who you contact to for sponsorships. A lot of those big companies will have that direct there, but even if you're trying to get a local brewery, you just look up, the contact and write a nice little pitch email, try and get them interested to hear more. And,
so you're the one creating those emails
Yes.
and putting all that stuff together, huh? So would you say lots of cold calling?
Yeah. Lots of no's,
Right.
Lots of cold calling. And, one of the things I need to get better on this year, but it's just, there was a lot of things that I talked to people in April, and they're like, follow up, and I wasn't able to follow up in the right amount of time, and just like that whole organization of like staying on top of things. There's it's a lot, especially when you're, when you're trying to balance a bunch of other things, and it's a delicate balance of like, when do you don't come off the jump asking for a bunch of money, but you also want to be transparent. But you also want to be transparent. It's delicate, but transparent on, we're trying to, we're trying to look for funding for this. I had a vision to have, I thought that somebody would see the value in sponsoring some art installs that could potentially be permanent in Patterson Park. That could cool. That could be cool, but that didn't end up happening. But at the end of the day, we had a great gathering in the park with a bunch of awesome music. There was a bunch of great artists involved.
Do you foresee, how long have you been doing Tellerfest? Was this the first?
This was the first year that I officially like Party for a Purpose, like it was presented by, and I had even said I want to say Tellerfest presented by whoever has 10 grand to buy the main stage rights. I'd love to take Party for a Purpose out of here and have it be a local business that saw the value. And
now, when you say main stage rights, what does that mean?
That means that we would have our main stage set up, and in all of the programming, whether it's digital or printed, and even banners on the side, like, so when people are at the event or reading about it, they're seeing the lineup for the main stage presented by, fill in the blank on the business,
Gotcha.
whether that is Celsius. And the guy even at Celsius was like, "Hey man, love your mission, but at the end of the day, we can only cut checks like that for events that are pulling numbers of like 20,000 people,
Gotcha.
or like, maybe he could spin it if it was a little less, but when you're thinking we might have 1,000 people, they're like,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll give you a bunch of cases and hand our stuff out
For sure.
and that helps us and helps them too. But to really get to you can't pay the sound guy in Celsius.
Yeah.
So
Right. I mean, maybe you never know. Maybe
no,
there's
we had a running joke that it was like, well, as soon as you start realizing that Celsius is money, and it kind of is. Like, I don't know, like,
Yeah. No, I hear where you're coming from.
Yeah.
What about do you have plans for Tellerfest 2025?
Yeah, no.
Let me tell you, dude, I would love to be involved somehow and help you in a way, because let me tell you, everything from like the artwork that you should be really proud of that, like the little flyers that you had. I saw them everywhere, dude. Like, so you did a great job with that, man.
Thanks.
You did a great job with that. And I know the weather too was a little bit got in the way as well. But either way, you know what, man, that's stuff that you have to plan for, right? Yeah. Do you foresee doing Tellerfest again this coming year, and even if not that, is there any other events that you kind of want to put some attention towards that you've kind of have already thought about?
Well, we it's not so much a party for a purpose thing, but the team that I put my first event on with Northwoods, Aether Immersive, I've come on with them as an official partner. So after being in debt to them for the production they brought to my first event, after paying them back, and then kind of like reinvesting with buying a dome from them, I've come on.
What's a dome?
With their team. Oh, sorry. It's a geodesic dome that you can break down and set up wherever, and a screen comes over it, and you can rig projectors up and turn it into either a stage, a space for guided meditation, sound bowl programming, any kind of like wellness workshop stuff, or just a lounge space. But it's been a great I don't know, I'll call it a tool for lack of a better word, for just kind of like helping facilitate community at events, for a lack of a better term, because it can be used for a stage. It can be used as you can enclose it and turn it into a immersive experience and like a planetarium kind of thing. Or it can just be a space where people can come and hang out during the day. And
let me ask you this. So what, you just show up and build it? Or does it come like already built?
It breaks down into a bunch of poles that are ranging in sizes, and there's a diagram to put it together, and it's nuts and bolts and steel, and takes a couple people to build in a couple hours and break it down just as fast.
How many people can fit in some of these domes?
Standing, you can get like 50 people in there, 50 to 75. I've seen it very packed out, and but that's for my 20-foot one. Derek has also the Aether team has a 40-foot one, which is pretty comparable to a lot of what you would see at places like Electric Forest.
Okay.
Elements, all different events.
Yeah.
Mainly EDM events, and when I first worked with Derek at Northwoods, and he brought it to our event, and I really loved what it brought to the atmosphere of
saw the value.
I really saw the value in it, and so I've been working with them to acquire sponsorship to start touring those domes at different events and curating different experiences. Like I said, we can host wellness workshops during the day, and at night host a lounge space with all different kinds of visuals you can run through this program. Resolume, you can be running art through, you can kind of recreate it and remix it into different visuals, and it's a great way to kind of showcase local festival artists and just have a great kind of like living art installation at the festival.
Oh, that's awesome, dude. Love that. Let's see here. Well, let's pivot a little bit. you, like I said before and kind of introduced you, you are really a jack of all trades when it comes to the communication and management fields. Tell us a little bit about the manager role that you have, and some of the bands and some of the facets of that people can take away from this conversation.
Well, I have been working with Uncle Kunkel's 1 Gram Band for a little over 2 years now.
Groovy, who is our production main man here, he's basically the other half of this. The Respecting Perspectives podcast is a part of the band. Just wanted to shout that out.
Yeah, no, I've known Groovy and Jeff in the band for many years now, and when they joined forces with the 1 Gram guys after they had graduated Salisbury and came back, I got involved with them right shortly after I saw them for the first time. I was talking to Jeff, and I was like, "Hey, do you guys have anybody helping you book? I was really impressed by the show."
When was this?
This was, I guess, right around. This was September of 22, I guess, was the first time I saw them. So then by Halloween, I had a meeting with them to talk about goals. I had never done anything like this before. I had been side stage to a bunch of projects and friends with, people who had been managers for bands or been doing it for a while. Mm-hmm. And when I first saw them, I was so impressed, and I kind of saw like a whole, them having this whole room in the palm of their hands, and I hadn't seen like energy in a room like that since COVID. There was a lot of bands that weren't really playing anymore that used to, and I just saw, like Jeff being part of this kind of like new wave of people that hadn't really been out. Like I said, the 1 Gram guys, they just graduated college, and most of their time in college was while the world was shut down. But with how, I guess, little they had seen shows, that during that time they educated themselves on music. So they almost kind of came out with like way more music knowledge than I did when I was their age. So that maturity level and like kind of what they wanted out of music and what they were exposed to by the time they came into our circles, I thought I was pretty impressed by.
Tell us a little bit more about what it takes to be a manager and some of the let's see here, some of the things that the reason why I ask as well, not only for the listeners, but I'm at a place right now where I do feel like I need a manager. And, when do you feel like an artist is ready for a manager? I think that's an important question.
I'll admit 1 Gram Band was not ready for me. Mm-hmm. I think I saw that there was a lot of work to be done, but I had the drive, and it goes back to labor of love. Like, you are going to put way more into this than what you're financially going to get out of it. But the other stuff that comes with it is beautiful, and you can't even put a price tag on it.
Love that.
But that isn't always the easiest when you're trying to make decisions and make sure you're eating and you're taking care of yourself and paying your bills and, all that. But that's for another day. But no, like I saw in them, I had the time to, I had the want to, and they matched my energy at
that's important.
Exactly. At all turns, they were, I would be going out of my way to get them an opportunity, but they were working hard and showing up and over delivering on their end of it. So it made my job easy, and I
wouldn't say easy.
Well, yeah. No. And we both say that on both ends about each other, but I had somebody recently that I don't know all that well, but have met recently, and she was asking kind of the same thing, and I said, you got to find somebody that's ready to not like I didn't take a dime from the 1 gram guys for a while until I wanted them
Very
to.
important.
I didn't come in and say, I need this down payment. I
Right.
need, and which is how you should operate if you're going to do something like that. But
Mm-hmm.
I didn't ever want them to feel like it was something that it was like it was something that I saw. I saw the value, and I saw they weren't the greatest and the tightest then. They've come leaps and bounds, but I saw what could be, and I knew that they were all hardworking and hungry enough
Mm.
and wanting it. So there's been plenty of times where on both ends, I'm sure everybody, because when you grow as fast as they have, and in all the ways, there comes stress with that. So it's
Mm.
like it's really hard to always stay on task if you're the only one
Grounded.
that's pulling all of the weight, but it's constantly everybody just kind of stepping in and pulling in at the
Mm.
times that they need to. And that's what's been keeping this whole thing going, is everybody stepping up when they need to, putting dumb shit to the side, whether it's they're arguing with each other or they have life stuff that's bleeding in. We all have
We all
that,
do.
and we all try and leave it out of work, but we're all human too. So
Yeah, gosh,
um,
that's extremely important. That's actually something that Brian Potts and I are going to be speaking about a little bit later today. But let's see here. As far as that, is there anything that maybe you would have maybe done differently in the past? Is there anything, something that I wanted to highlight as well, like for other managers, any maybe like red flags for like an artist to look out for in that management role?
if your manager is ever trying to make you to make a decision like right then without having
Ooh,
given you time to process, ask people you trust, I'd say that's really the only thing I can
okay.
really think of. Because like there's all kinds of like little situational things that you can be like, but that's all perspective and perception, and
Mm-hmm.
everybody's got a different one of what's happening in a room. So
Right.
that's all whatever. I'm sure people have looked at things that I've done as and thinking that it's been malicious, and it's not. I know that's just that's
That's just
something
the
that
way the
happens.
world
But
works for
if
sure.
like somebody is pressuring you into make a decision without giving you proper time to process that,
Mm-hmm.
but then there's another side to that. I don't know, but also, their job, our job is to keep people on track for their goals.
Yeah, dig into that a little bit. Like, what is the role of a manager?
It all depends. It's all different for different people. I've been, um, luckily, like I said, Luke is and I have worked intensely on this
Shouts to Luke.
with input from everyone. But he went to college for communications. He's a
Cool.
good graphic designer, and he knows what he wants in a brand. And we argue a lot. And I'm sure, I know that we don't always see eye to eye on stuff, but I don't know. We've always trusted in each other to go which way.
Important.
And I feel like when you ask about regrets, I don't really have any, because right now, the fact that we're where we're at, I can't really say that I could never argue to anybody. And anytime I try and, think like, oh, we should have been done this and this would have happened,
Right. Can't.
that could have been really bad. It could have ended up being a failure for whatever reason. So a
Right.
lot of it's all about setting goals and working towards that. Like one of the
Like that.
things to be at this time last year, we heard that Fish was doing that festival, and we were like,
Yeah.
all right, we're buying gear and we're setting up so we can do Renegade sets in the fest
Love that.
grounds, and that'll be like how we'll get in front of a bunch of people. And then we
Uh-huh.
ended up getting some good gigs and playing with a bunch of piecing
Oh, you
together
did?
a bunch of shows. And by the time it came around to that, nobody had energy to want to go do this and spend the money and lift, because but because we were working so hard to be ready to be this
I
unit,
love this.
things were clicking in for us. And but now we're at the point now where we just got this offer to go do this Papadozio festival that our friends are throwing, but the lineup's not very big. But because they work, the Kunkel guys and myself have worked with doing stuff with Aether Immersive and the domes and doing the visuals, they were like wanting to have them as a combo and have them come out and curate this late night area for the festival. So because they're ready to go out with their own gear and provide their own sound, we just need the chance to play. And we're willing to put in that extra work and help bring something to an event and help create that experience for people and put in that extra sweat, that extra lift. Everybody wants to show up and plug in and have their gigs white gloved for them and have some ego about it, but nobody really wants to go and actually work for the shows anymore. Like, so many people also, you have to if you're expecting to get a good guarantee and get paid, like, work on the promotion, get out there. Like, so many people are entitled to just getting gigs and playing without adequately promoting their shows, and we're even guilty of it at times too, and not even maliciously, but like, we should just be better at our jobs.
Going back to the balance, thing, but I have enough energy and stamina to be able to do that. Now, could you mention one more time what's the name of that festival that we can see them at? The Papadozio?
Kicksville. It's May 9th and 10th. It's right on the water in St. Mary's. Papadozio, Octave Cat, Chalk Dinosaur Ensemble, Electric Love Machines doing 2 sets. Got EOS, Suhan.
Suhan, shouts.
And so it's really cool. There's all these people on here that we've all been looking up to for years that are going to be at this little homie fest, and like, we're going to have an opportunity to get in front of all those people and kind of give them that late night experience every night when they come over from seeing their favorite bands that they've known. These are the new guys on the scene that have been working hard. It's not just gas. Like, they're really they're putting it out there and putting it down. They have a full sonic sound that they've been working really hard to hone in, and they're their worst own critics. They'll talk shit on on it all day, but at the end of the day, they're crushing, and I'm just like very excited to see where that goes.
Hey, tell us a little bit about what they did here at the Watermelon Room. I think that's really cool.
It was really cool. And I think this summer was so busy for everyone. I still come back and process on how cool that really was. But so in the middle of summer, it was, I guess, the end of June, we did 3 nights here and kind of made it donation based, pay what you want to get in. And we wanted to just run all the songs that they felt good about, not do it in a show setting where they felt like they had to orchestrate the set. They wanted to just play the songs they knew how to play, focus on the music, but let our fans and friends be in here to help provide that energy that they thrive so good in.
Dude, that is so awesome. So it was like a live recording of an album?
Yeah. So, and we just released it in November.
Where can people find that?
Stream it on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music.
What's the name of the
It's called Punk Jams.
Oh, shoot. Punk Jams, baby. Pump it up. Yeah, love that. Love that.
Yeah. No, but it was just.
What did you get from that? If you don't mind me.
What I got from that is kind of like a step in the direction of doing some, and this is, that what we did here wasn't anything groundbreaking. Like, people have had live recordings in a small, but this was kind of something in a unique space that people aren't familiar, and not everyone's familiar with this space in Baltimore. And some people that had been to like raves here and different parts of it over the years, when they came, they're like, oh, I didn't even know they had this side. And we were able to kind of have a different experience and allow because like over the short amount of time that they've blown up, there's been a very committed fan base that has been coming out and came out all 3 of those nights.
I was here.
Yeah.
I was here for most of it. And dude, let me tell you something, man. It was really cool to be able to, especially like knowing that like there's so much stuff that happens here. And this is just one small place. compared to all of, in just think, I mean, we're talking about Baltimore, that's where we're at right now, but whatever city you're in, like, there are things like that are going on around you, that if you really want to, support a local band, all you have to do is dig a little bit, walk a few blocks down the street in any city, and I guarantee you can find things like that going on. And it was just really cool to see how, like, we can go from a podcast setting one night to, like, the next night, you can have a band, live recording an album. It's music, man. It's a beautiful thing, and it's really cool to be able to see the support. And man, it really does, like, give me hope for myself as an artist, to be able to create that community. I was able to meet so many different people within those 2 or 3 days. And not just that, but, like, I was able to give the band, like, instant feedback of how I felt and how it made me feel. And it was so cool to be able to kind of, like, be a part of the process. I feel like that's huge these days, is artists allowing listeners and their fans to be a part of the process. And luckily, with social media and whatnot, I think we're able to do that more so now than ever. Do you feel like the traction, do you feel like you got any, like, traction from that itself, or, like, that doesn't even really matter too much, right?
It doesn't matter, because I think if you looked at, like, the numbers on it, like, this place wasn't sold out, but there was a good amount of people here. I'd say yes, because we've done a great job at, it's like this. Well, this was also something for our fans to do. We didn't, like, market
I
it.
like that.
We didn't do this as, like, trying to make a live album. We just wanted to record, but realized that we were spinning wheels, doing segments not together, not locked in, not with everyone, because that's when the magic has been happening with these guys.
Love that.
Is on stage. So we're like, hey, do it 3 nights in a row. We're gonna get something we're happy with, because there's great parts of shows and some not. So you're not gonna be able to. It's a lot to put all your eggs in that basket of, like, doing a live concert for DVD. Like, when bands do that, you're putting a lot
DVD.
of
Did you just drop that DVD?
like the live concert DVD.
What is that?
Well, hold on, we're gonna do another episode.
You're
on
right.
DVDs.
DVDs.
No, but, like, there's I think that this was something that we all wanted to do. We knew, like, because, like I said before, doing shows is not a moneymaker. Like, you're not, like, unless I don't know.
Hopefully down the line.
Yeah, but it's like, you're not, if you're doing it for the right reasons. Yes. Yeah, you can make money, but if you're going to depend on that, you're eventually going to find yourself working in spaces that you're not, like, that aren't necessarily your favorite. But I guess that's part of it. Life
it's
is
all
not,
perspective too, like,
That's
there's
true.
some people who totally depend on show sales.
Well, some people have it locked in. Like, there's people, and that's the thing. It's like, there's people that have it locked in, and it's like, they got it locked in. Like, don't fuck with stop trying to reinvent the wheel. These people, they got it. If they want your help, they'll ask for it.
How many years do you think it takes an artist or a band before those shows really start to show, the results that the band, because, like, as an artist, let me be real with you. I mean, like, as an artist, my dream is always, like, that Woodstock crowd, like that, seeing all those people in front of you. Now, there have been shows for me where I've had 10 people, and then there's been shows for me where I've had 2,000 people, how long do you think, and I know this is all respectively to the artists themselves, but how long do you think, how many years do you think it takes in order to kind of really develop that fan base to where they're going to be at your shows, and it's going to be, I wouldn't even say, like, sold out, but, like, to the point where, like, like, the band is really, like, they're amped to be up there and doing what they're doing?
That's hard to say because different people's levels of success in different genres depends on what you're trying to do. I mean, there's, and I don't want to like me. Yeah, I don't know. It really all depends what you're trying to get out of the project. Like, are you trying to be like the band that makes, really good money regionally but doesn't travel? Are you trying to be a traveling act? And there's all kinds of things that go in. Like, the more you grow, the more crew and team you need to be a part of it. So it's like, at what point it's really all about keeping everybody happy, because it's not there's going to be times where the money's not really there to do it, but you have to be, at the end of the day, labor of love. Like, it has to be, you have to be ready to make those commitments and not really seeing the payoff right now. Everything that we've worked for, we've and one of the things I've tried to be with the 1 gram guys is we dream big, but also keep it real. And I think I do
take notes.
I will pride myself on, I don't think I've really bullshitted or dangled a carrot for them on hey guys, this is a great opportunity, but not been like, unless I was sure. And I'd even say, I feel good about this, but it's not until it's confirmed in the emails. Like, it's not
for sure.
It's not real. So like, yeah.
Nice. I got to pee.
Go for it. Yeah.
Let's take a break. No.
Okay.
Wait a second. You hear that? Do you hear that?
Oh, yeah. What is that?
Hello? Yes, hello? Who is this? Oh, this is the younger Will Gibbons? Like, we're talking old school OG Will. Oh, shoot. Okay. Yeah, you know what? Actually, I have somebody here right next to me who would love to have a conversation with you. Do you mind? Yeah, here you go, man. Here he is. Good luck.
Oh, wow. Hello, younger Will Gibbons. Wow. I guess you always wish you could have, I guess you could always wish that you had your older self to help reflect. I will say, just cigarettes are not cool, and they're definitely did not get cooler the older you got. Yeah, no, cigarettes not cool. You don't need to go to every night of a 3-night run. Cocaine is no longer good, and just don't do it. Probably let's see, what else? Just don't be a liar. When you think you can get away with something, it always comes back. So just don't be a liar. I'd say, call your mom more. Yeah. Trying to think, what else should I be telling the young Will?
You got any advice for him? You got any advice, or maybe something that you would either change, or what do you got?
I'd say, don't stay at a job any longer than 2 to 3 years. Switch it up as much as you can. Try and take the good from every situation, but realize once it's beginning toxic and no longer good for you, separate. Don't keep trying to lie to yourself thinking that you're gonna getting taken care of at the end. Always make sure you're advocating for yourself. And being holding yourself accountable and not blaming, when you're trying to make excuses, trying to blame on other people. People generally see, the people that matter see through the bullshit. So yeah, you're really only, ever hurting yourself doing that. And yeah. I don't know. I think that's, just continue to go forth every day with good intention and trust that as long as you are consistent, stay consistent, all will work out as you want to.
Tell him you love him.
And I love you. Despite all things. Love you.
Hey man, he loves you, and you end up being a pretty awesome human being. So take all the advice that he gave you, and just keep doing the right thing because you are. You make it in a great place. All right, peace out. Love you, dog. There it is, man. Talking to the past, huh? That's wild, isn't it? To think about that, you know?
Yeah, no, but I mean, but I've said this before to people, like, I really, like, and I've had some dark years, like, I still don't think I could trade any of it because it's all brought me to here. And, you know, you can't look outward of like where people are at, because I work with a lot of people that are 10, 15 years younger than me or older than me, but we're all in different spaces for, you know, at different times for different reasons. But I am so dead set that I had to go through all of the years of either spinning wheels or darkness to kind of learn all, you know, in all of our brains. It took me a little bit longer to kind of come around to it all and learn, you know, I had to learn the same lessons and fall, you know, I've had, you know, addiction issues and substance issues. You know, it's all, yeah, it's all a learning experience, but it all, you know, it helps me, especially with all of the mental health and like substance use stuff. It helps give me perspective to give people grace that I know and help other people. So like now I'm able to kind of help be that sounding board or kind of help guide people, as, you know, I don't work a program or anything, but I fully, you know, subscribe to taking good advice from good people, surrounding yourself with good people, and none of it would what I'm trying to say is everything has led me to be able to hold space for people.
Love that, man. That was excellent. I love how you kind of rounded things out with that. That was excellent. Excellent. I got some. Can we do some rapid fire? I have some questions for you here that you don't even know about. That I like to kind of just pull up on people. Okay. All right. And we want to try and make this rapid fire. So you want to try and, you know, off the cuff, you know, we can't.
Even if it's like not the truth, like just whatever my brain comes up with. Okay. All right.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. 10 seconds or 4 minutes on the clock here. Okay. Tell us your ideal packed lunch.
Ooh, ideal packed lunch, I think, would be an egg salad and bacon sandwich, 2 snack packs, and a string cheese.
Man, that was too easy. Yeah. All right, in your little bag there.
Yeah.
All right, describe what you think your life will look like when you're 85.
When I'm 85, I really hope to be just like I think like whatever it looks like, just really enjoying myself. Whether that's, you know, really, that could look fun. We'll keep it pretty PG, but just really enjoy
it, baby boy.
Yeah.
All right. Describe the person to your left in one word.
A community connector.
There we go. Okay. Would you ever want someone to throw you a surprise party?
Depends. I'm gonna say yes to keep it easy.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, but somebody out there better throw this mofo a surprise party at some point. All right. Can you do an impression of someone in your family?
Oh.
Let's see it. Yeah. Who is it? Come on, just the.
Oh, I guess. This is a good one. Let's see.
Rapid fire. Rapid fire.
Oh no. Someone in my family.
Come on.
Oh, I'm blanking. I want to do my grandma, but she has so many good one-liners. But some of them are like not. I don't know.
What's a one-liner from your grandmother?
God, no. Yeah.
Okay.
Next.
All right,
Sorry.
next question. It's all right.
Because she grew up in the early years, so it's not all PC stuff. You know, it's
there's
stuff grandma
so much.
says, and I'm like, we're not going there today.
You can't rapid fire grandma.
Yeah, you can't.
Knowledge.
I'm sorry.
You're right. Okay.
Yeah.
Name another country you want to visit.
South America.
Done. All right. What question do you wish people would ask you more often?
I would wish that they would ask what I want, what my 5-year plan is.
Okay, we'll talk about that afterwards. All right, what's the biggest mess you've ever made?
The biggest mess I've ever made.
Without throwing anyone else under the bus other than yourself.
The biggest mess, we talked about it earlier, Northwoods. It was a great project, but it was a financial disaster that took me. I'm still like talking about it in fucking therapy. Just
and in podcasts.
And in podcasts apparently.
This is therapy in a way.
Yeah. Oh shit.
Right.
But no, yeah.
Got that one. Okay. Well, what need to work on for the future.
Yeah.
All right. What do you think your favorite teacher does when they aren't at school?
I saw this one. Yeah, no. I don't have a current teacher, but I am friends with a lot of teachers, and I know what they be doing. Now, when they're not at school, and a lot of it is fish concerts.
There
and
we go.
things
Fish concerts,
associated.
baby. All right, they're all there. All right, what is your favorite form of potatoes?
Hash brown or a shreddy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I think a tater tot because you can put crab on it and shit, and cheese.
Taters.
Yeah.
All right, do you find it easy or difficult to play on a team, and why?
I find it very easy to play on a team, and I guess that's also it depends on who that team is, I guess, is the real question, but that's
for sure.
Yeah, but I'll say a team all day.
Definitely. Have you ever eaten something weird just to see how it tastes?
Yes.
Yeah, what was that?
I'm gonna say that I've eaten octopus, and I thought that was kind of weird. The weirdest thing I've eaten unknowingly was dog treats that looked like Oreos, but they were not packaged like, there was dog treats that looked like Oreos, and I'm eating them like,
How'd it taste?
It didn't taste that bad.
Right?
I thought it was just like health food Oreos that were like made with like vegan or something. Well, Oreos are vegan. Regular Oreos are, but just like, made with not sugar or whatever.
Okay.
So I did this, for about a week as I'm cooking my dinner. I would grab one out of the fucking dog food thing, and I was like, just had one while it was like, I'll have one shitty cookie while I'm eating. And then, like, at the end of the week, I realized what it was.
Oh, that is true.
And I was like, it killed me. So I, of course, like, couldn't just like be the only one who did this. So I took them out of the bag, brought them to work, and I had like 10 to 12 people eat dog treats.
Oh, dude, that is so funny. Oh,
one guy
God.
still will not like.
Did you tell them that they were?
I
dog
did
treats
afterwards, and everybody was pretty good sports about it.
Yeah,
except
right,
for
right.
One guy.
One guy.
Anyway,
all right. Would you rather have the ability to fly or read minds?
I think read minds.
Okay,
Yeah.
read minds. If you could have any superpower, what would it be, other than those two things? Rapid fire.
Lift anything up.
Oh,
Move
nice.
anything.
Okay, all right.
Save
What's
a
the
lot of money
best?
on hauling.
Right. What's the best ice cream topping?
Peanuts in different forms.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, last one here. If you had to move someplace you've been to on vacation, where would it be?
New Zealand.
Oh, New Zealand. And actually, I have one more for you. Coconut or pineapple?
Coconut.
Yeah?
Now.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Well, hey, man, thank you so much for sitting with me and everybody else who's watching here. I think we were able to, dig into a lot of interesting topics, and I'm excited to see where Party for a Purpose is going to be in the next 5 years, and your management role for One Grand Band. And I really appreciate you, being as honest as possible with some of these topics. I know, some of the stuff we talk about is, isn't like the easiest stuff to talk about. We could probably sit for a few days, really, and kind of discuss some of this stuff. But I'm really appreciative of you, and I would actually love to, off record, off camera, kind of speak with you about, me finding the proper manager and how to, make that happen in the future. So
I would love to, man.
Yeah, be prepared for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're like what you're doing now is all part of kind of what I would suggest, because what I tell the 1 gram guys, there's this project it can't be your everything. It needs to be a very important part, and you need to put a lot into it. But when you can't it can't be your everything. You need to have something else that is an outlet for you to be creative and helps you to, like Groovy doing this. Like, he's not just the drummer for Uncle Kunkel's One Grand Band and a great AV guy and a great, he's helping facilitate something great. And he's been doing that, and he's been like this whole podcast thing. He's going to have this mobile and be able to do this wherever soon. And that is like what all the good that he gets out of doing this and taking ownership of this. He's able to come in and like just have this like egoless force with him. And I feel like as an artist, you can't just be the singer. There's so many bands out there. There's so many people that are talented writing good songs. It's who's willing to put in the extra work to help either build the community or help build the people up that are above them, knowing that hopefully, and not everything that you do is reciprocated in this industry. Sure. And I think that leaves a lot of people sour sometimes because they feel it's all, the perspective and perception of a situation and how they feel it has shaken out. But I think if you're getting up every day and doing what you can outside of yourself, that it comes back in ways that aren't always transactional. And I think that as long as you can go forward and knowing that, it just kind of makes the growing process easier on all of us. I've had so many. Anyway.
Yeah. No, I love that, man.
Yeah.
It's interesting. You have to diversify your energy, and through this podcast, I have been able to have some amazing and extremely interesting conversations. And what that's going to do is that's just going to be fuel for my music. I didn't really think that I didn't know what I was going to be able to get from these podcasts in the very beginning, except for just knowing that, showing up and really giving like 1,000% into like every single conversation. It's helped me with so many different facets of my life that I'll get into a whole episode, with that in the future. But yeah, man, I'm really glad that you said that. Well, dude, thank you so much for being here. And where can people find you online? And
Facebook, Will Gibbons. Instagram, Funkel Willie. And Party for a Purpose presents. One Grand Band on Instagram for Uncle Kunkel's One Grand Band. We're hitting the road pretty hard and lots of cool stuff in the works. So come out and check us out. If you see us coming to your area, if you're not from Baltimore here.
Yeah, there we go. Awesome. All right. Well, hey, thanks for joining us in today's episode of the Respecting Perspectives podcast. We will see y'all on the flip side. Peace.